Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister Shivraj in damage control mode after urination horror. Day after bulldozer razed accused's home, Chief Minister Shivraj washes victim's feet. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau fails to condemn repeated Khalistani threats. India slams Canada, says Trudeau legitimizing terror.
Let me make the larger point that the issue is not about freedom of expression, but its misuse for advocating violence, for propagating separatism, and for legitimizing terrorism.
Countdown to launch of Chandrayaan 3's moon mission. ISRO schedules mega launch for the 14th of July. All right, viewers, let's get you up to speed with the latest news break that is coming in, and there's another escalation in the Parivaar party fight. The latest coming in, Sharad Pawar states, I am the NCP president. No truth in Ajit Pawar's claims. Will approach EC and rebuild party. Sharad Pawar faction has disqualified, sacked all rebels. Ajit Pawar Tatkare, Praful Patel expelled. Rahul Gandhi now has met Sharad Pawar as well in midst of this ongoing fight for the claim of which is the real NCP, Ajit Pawar faction or the Sharad Pawar faction. Those visuals that are coming to you on your television screen after the National Executive, Sharad Pawar, Supriya Sule meeting Rahul Gandhi. Sitting next to them is Jitendra Awad. He is, of course, by the Sharad Pawar faction designated as the leader of opposition. Lots going down. Sharad Pawar is now leaving for Mumbai again. He says he's going to go to the people. He says he doesn't care about Chief Minister's aspirations or who is Deputy Chief Minister. Wishes Ajit Pawar the best, but makes it very clear that the party, the symbol belongs to him, which is Ajit Pawar. While Ajit Pawar has the numbers where arithmetic is concerned, where the numbers stand at 32. At 32, where the Sharad Pawar faction is concerned, the numbers right now at 14, where at least the assembly, Vidhan Sabha assembly in Maharashtra is concerned. On the national scale, if you look at in terms of the MPs and the MLAs, 5 each, both in Rajya Sabha and in Lok Sabha. Out of the 5 in Rajya Sabha, 1, Praful Patel has gone to the Ajit Pawar faction, 4 still with Sharad Pawar. Lok Sabha 1, Mr. Tatkare, Sunil Tatkare has gone to the Ajit Pawar faction, 4 still with Sharad Pawar. So in that sense, Sharad Pawar has majority, but deeply depleted when it comes down to the numbers in the Vidhan Sabha assembly now. Listen in to all reactions.
आपको मुझे एक बात पता है कि राष्ट्रवादी कांग्रेस पार्टी का मैं प्रेसिडेंट हूँ। दूसरा किसी ने अपने नाम पर स्टेटमेंट दे दिया, कुछ बात कही, वो बात कह सकते हैं, इसमें कोई इम्पोर्टेंस नहीं, कोई सच्चाई नहीं है। पार्टी को ठेस पहुँचाने का काम कुछ साथियों ने किया, इससे फिर मजबूती से पार्टी को खड़ा करना, आगे ले जाना और अच्छी स्थिति पर लाना, ये मानसिकता हमारे सभी साथियों की थी। मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि 2024 में महाराष्ट्र में हुकूमत बदलेगी। आज जिनके हाथ में हुकूमत है उनको लोग दूर करेंगे और जो कुछ अपोजिशन में काम करने वाले हमारे जैसे लोग हैं, इनके खिलाफ जिस तरह के कदम उठाए गए, इसकी कीमत उनको देनी पड़ेगी।
All right, let's take you through the developments with my colleague Sahil Joshi, Mumbai Bureau Chief, joining us right outside Parivaar residence where the National Executive is just about concluded. And Moshmi Singh, because Sharad Pawar also went to meet Rahul Gandhi. Rahul Gandhi expressing solidarity with his ally Sharad Pawar. Party now in a sense of deep turmoil. Sahil Joshi, take us through on what was discussed where the National Executive is concerned. Of course, everything been contested and deemed illegal by the Ajit Pawar faction.
Well, this is to assert that Sharad Pawar is still the president, because yesterday Ajit Pawar camp released their press release claiming that on 30th of June, they conducted a meeting in which elected MLAs, many office bearers, the people from the organizations were present, and they passed a resolution saying that the party is not being run by the democratic principles, and that's why it's not even running on the path formed in the constitution of the Nationalist Congress Party, and that is the reason why they are appointing Ajit Pawar as the national president. So obviously there has to be a counter to it, and to reiterate that Sharad Pawar still is the president of the party. Not only that, the party's working committee and extended working committee met today and sacked Praful Patel, Sunil Tatkare and 9 members of Maharashtra Legislative Assembly, including Ajit Pawar, who took oath on Sunday with the BJP Shiv Sena government. Now, interestingly, Sharad Pawar has made it very clear that he knows that the fight is now going to be in the election commission. Right now, the party is saying that they are not going to go approach the court because they believe in the election commission. What we saw in the fight within the Shiv Sena, that the court did not interfere any matter till the time election commission took the decision with respect to symbol and the party and the name of the party. It's very clear now to Sharad Pawar that Ajit Pawar is out to take over the party's name and the symbol the way Eknath Shinde took over Shiv Sena's name and symbol from Uddhav Thackeray, and that is what the fight is going on at this point of time. Another important aspect of this press conference was that Pawar wanted to take this press meeting in Delhi to reiterate that the party's national president is still Sharad Pawar, not Ajit Pawar, the way it happened in Mumbai and suddenly somebody is claiming that this happened. He also made an important claim about if the meeting happened on 30th of June, why the letter to the election commission reached on the 5th of July, to which the Ajit Pawar group is countering, saying that they had sent a letter on 30th June itself. So there is no question of delay of any sort. They have taken all the legal precautions and the fight is going to be till finish. It's very clear now that the fight is going to be in the election commission, and only after that Sharad Pawar will get down on the road, as he keeps claiming again and again that the people who have gone with the BJP will face the consequences when the polls, they will face the polls in Maharashtra.
But that time gap between when the election commission actually comes back can be very ambiguous because there is no immediate election in order. But Sahil, just coming right back to you, I just want to quickly pull in Moshmi also, who is joining us. And Moshmi, right after his national executive, he went to meet Rahul Gandhi. Visuals of that also coming in. What was discussed? Because, of course, Rahul Gandhi must be expressing in-person solidarity of Sharad Pawar's party completely, in a mess right now, a vertical split there.
Preeti, 10 Janpath and 6 Janpath are just a stone throw away, the difference of just 4. But whether 2 and 2 is going to be 4 for the opposition is the big question. And that's one reason that, pictures of Rahul Gandhi, actually, he came in. Rahul Gandhi coming in right here behind me to meet Sharad Pawar was very, very symbolic, because there is a meeting of the opposition on the cards on the 17th and 18th in Bengaluru. And the big question now is whether the opposition is really a weakened opposition, whether Sharad Pawar will be able to make it, who was considered the Chanakya of the entire opposition unity. And there you are, minutes after Sharad Pawar concluded that entire presser, Rahul Gandhi just came here to meet Sharad Pawar for a 10-minute chat they had. Surely he would have said that the Congress is backing Sharad Pawar to the hilt, even as, it's interest interesting that how the politics is playing out in Delhi and in the state of Maharashtra with very scathing remarks coming from Prithviraj Chavan on Pawar's ambition and his partiality to Supriya Sule. So all those factors are playing out, but besides that, Pawar also responded to opposition unity, mentioning the Congress, mentioning the Uddhav Sena, saying that we are going to win finally. So thereby underlining the fact that he is, still forced to reckon with, not only in the opposition but against the BJP.
All right, Sahil, pulling you in for one final question. Like you said, that Sharad Pawar wants the EC to make clear on which side who gets the symbol, who gets the party, and then he's going to take to the people and, go amongst the people. But that can take any amount of time. Fastest, I would reckon, it's happened in the case of the Shiv Sena, where it was given to Eknath Shinde. You have other political parties like the LJP, they've still been fighting for that symbol. The symbol is frozen, so, is the party. But having said that, what can be expected now? What's the next course of action?
Well, right now the Maharashtra Assembly session will begin in the second week of July, and in that session we will see some flares inside the assembly, because the speaker, it looks like, will ask the NCP section to sit in the treasury benches, and I think that the people who are with Sharad Pawar are going to oppose it. NCP is also going to lose the leader of opposition's positions, because the speaker will have to take a call about who is going to be the leader of opposition. That is also going to be very crucial, because once NCP gives up on the leader of opposition position, that also becomes very clear that they don't have the numbers. I mean, Sharad Pawar fraction doesn't have the numbers. Most importantly, now what we will have to wait and see is that whether this opposition bloc remains together. Because, one of the resolution in today's meeting was that Sharad Pawar has made it very clear that they are going to remain with the opposition unity, and they are going to continue to fight the war against the BJP and the NDA in Maharashtra, as well as during the Lok Sabha elections. But whether the opposition partners are there with him. Today's, as Maushmi was mentioning, Rahul Gandhi is coming to express the solidarity. Even today in Mumbai, there was a meeting of the Congress party, and they also came out and mentioned it very clearly that they are going to stand with Sharad Pawar, the way they had taken a press conference even during when the problem in the Shiv Sena happened. So the course for the opposition is very difficult. The only option for the opposition parties, specifically the Shiv Sena, UBT, Sharad Pawar's NCP and the Congress, to stick together. If they try to dip into their own problems, like the Congress, some of the people from the Congress were very jubilant the way NCP was going. That the breaking of NCP, they were looking out as an opportunity for them. That is going to spoil the opposition game. And that's what it looks like, that even Rahul Gandhi wanted to send a message to the state cadre that do not try these tactics at this point of time. This is a time that the opposition parties to stay united, and that's what the message they are trying to say.
Especially after we heard Prithviraj Chavan practically taking on Sharad Pawar for favoring his daughter over what possibly the insinuation was a better, more reliable and more capable prospect in Ajit Pawar. With that, appreciate both of you for joining us. Maushmi there, as well as Sahil Joshi. We're going to quickly shift focus to the developments that are coming in from Karnataka right now. Well, Karnataka's capital, Bengaluru, has been marred with infra crisis, but Speaker UT Khadr has made a VIP appeal, asking the government to have the National Highways Authority of India to provide a separate VIP lane for smooth passage of lawmakers through toll gates. Many of us are stuck on those same very toll gates for hours at end. But this was mooted by the Speaker, saying that lawmakers, even the MLAs that have retired and no longer are MLAs, ex-MLAs, should get safe and clear passage through these toll gates.
India's Silicon Valley and Karnataka's capital, Bengaluru, is a crumbling mess. The IT city is plagued by traffic jams, frequent waterlogging, potholed roads. The list of woes is long and has been begging attention for years now. But Karnataka's politicians have bigger concerns to address, like how to get through a highway toll plaza in comfort. Assembly Speaker UT Khadir on Thursday suggested that the National Highways Authority of India should create a VIP lane for MLAs and former MLAs.
Seniors ex-MLA told in the NHA guidelines policy, where they have got already emergency and representative lane is there. In that MLAs and other names are specified. Ex-MLAs are not specified. We are also respected and dignified and and aged also. So for us also you should consider the request.
Demand for a VIP lane for MLAs and former MLAs came after Congress MLA PM Narendra Swamy claimed harassment at a toll plaza.
Pass is issued. It is not for everyone. Pass is issued to the elected representatives only. When the treatment of those toll guys are like this, can you ask us to behave gently with them?
The speaker's demand for a separate lane triggered sharp reactions. The BJP pointed out that a VIP lane for lawmakers already exists.
Already there is a VIP lane. Already there is a VIP line. Who should be allowed in that VIP line is important. Probably in this direction, the ambulance and the VIP line has been already created. So only thing is who has to be included, has to be looked into it. Probably let us see what Honorable Speaker has been suggesting.
BJP MP Tejasvi Surya called the Congress elitist for seeking a VIP lane. Karnataka PWD minister has denied any plan to add more VIP lanes.
ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ನಾವು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪರ್ಟ್ನ ಕೇಳಿ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ನಾವು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪರ್ಟ್ ನೇಮಿಸ್ತೀವಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಯಾವ್ದು ಸೇರಿಸಬೇಕು ಯಾವುದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪರ್ಟ್ ಕಮಿಟಿ ಮೇಲೆ ನಿರ್ಧಾರ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ನಾವು ಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳು ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ.
The Karnataka Speaker's demand for separate lane for MLAs at toll plazas has reignited the debate on the VVIP racism that pervades the system. Pure Report, India Today.
All right, and the news that we are breaking is a U-turn by the Karnataka Speaker UT Khadir. He's tried to get into some damage control finally after suggesting a VVIP lane at toll plazas for MLAs. Khadir now says that he only articulated a suggestion made by ex-MLAs. Khadir's suggestion has come in for massive criticism, especially from the BJP and also from the regular citizenry that has called it entitlement, VVIP racism of sorts, where they want a separate lane for themselves.
Ex-MLAs, many of them, they were arrested. They said, please give us the pass also. And this is the issue is there. And seniors ex-MLA told in the NHA guidelines policy, where they have got already emergency and representative lane is there. In that MLAs and other names are specified. Ex-MLAs are not specified. We are also respected and dignified and and aged also. So for us also you should consider the request was the.
All right, I'm going to cut across right now to my colleague Naga, who's joining us with the very latest. You know, it's very interesting, Naga, if you look at it, because the Congress's entire campaign was built on the people, of what their demands were against the VVIP culture at an extent, and now completely the opposite playing out in the state.
Well, it's the speaker who made the comment sitting in the chair yesterday while addressing the House. He did an observation that why not a separate lane for MLAs and ministers, because one of the MLAs stood up in the House and said the toll operators are harsh to him and use abusive language to check the sticker that every MLA car has. It's not just Congress, Preeti, but many BJP MLAs too had the same opinion that yes, maybe we need a separate lane as well. But the government has come on record that they have no plans. The present ambulance and VV lane that is sufficient, and they don't have to construct a new one, is what the government has come on record and said that PWD minister has said that they have no such plans. And the speaker also has gone on record to say that it was just a suggestion that and he doesn't support this VVIP culture, neither has he asked the government to take a look at it. It was just an observation made. He said while the toll operators are trying to harass the MLAs and VVIPs while passing through the lane, is what he said. So it is not just Congress versus BJP here in Karnataka. We spoke to all three parties. It is more of a mentality issue for the politicians and the attitude problem that they have. They have a sense of entitlement, both Congress and BJP and JDS here.
Well, appreciate you joining us, Nagarjun, and clearing it out. Not just the Congress, it's also the BJP MLAs all together. At least that's where political boundaries and ideologies blur when it comes down to entitlement. Well, at least the Congress government has now come out and said it's not happening. And the Speaker has also clarified, albeit under pressure, that there is no suggestion in terms of action. He was just articulating some MLAs' sentiments, which included the likes of BJP MLAs as well. With that, a quick break. On the other side, a fact check segment.
This, ladies and gentlemen, is a dystopic reality, and it is by any yardstick a growing epidemic. We are all hooked. Admit it, deny it, and this means serious trouble. We are slaves to our gadgets. The addiction has not even spared the young ones.
During this pandemic, there was a shift in the routine life of everyone, and even for my child, when the online classes started, in this 2 years, the first year he was fine, but as and when the screen time got increased, so he started shifting the screens during the classes to see some gaming videos during the classes. I could see that like his craving for that, like asking for mobile, it became more. He used to become arrogant, sometimes aggressive, and later it started being physical. Maybe like screaming, it may be screaming or hitting the walls, something like that, behavioral changes.
Is this how people around you behave all the time? Their heads down into their phones, the relationship with the gadget not broken even during meal times.
Well, does this happen to you often? Lost in the real world, only present in the virtual? Are you one of those people who can't do without your phones? You have a relationship only with your gadgets and your screens and not with your friends and family members?
Therapy and de-addiction to recover from technology addiction is fast catching up in India, given the situation we found ourselves in. But what exactly is addiction to gadgets?
A lot of this watching screen all the single time is just illuminating our brains quite a lot. You've seen a Christmas tree all lit up. Our brain has a lot of these neuropaths. So every time you see a stimulus, some neuropath gets lit up. And when we are watching screens, it's so stimulating. These games, these video games, these vlogs and these reels that are going on for every 1 minute, something keeps getting stimulated for you all. So a lot of neuropaths are getting lit. So if you see a brain scan of a child, it looks like a Christmas tree all lit up. So it becomes very difficult for someone with such an excited brain to cool themselves down, to calm themselves down. So yes, this is an epidemic.
are watching Fact Check segment where we bust fake news. On 28th June, a copy of the Quran was set ablaze outside the Stockholm Central Mosque in Sweden, sparking massive outrage by Muslim-dominated nations. This sparked viral claims on social media that the governments of Qatar and Kuwait have called for the expulsion of all people of Swedish origin from their countries. However, India Today's investigation found that though Qatar and Kuwait have condemned the Quran burning incident, neither of them has said that they will expel all Swedish people. This fact check on viral fake news is done by India Today's team Afwa.
Expert, and I'm going to show you all the different ways to achieve your fitness goals. If you see, I'm hanging by a harness over here. Very interesting because I'm about to do aerial bungee jumping. Anushka is an expert at that. She's going to teach me and Nitika how to do this. It combines dance, acrobatics, and lets you achieve your overall fitness goals. These workouts help you defy gravity and make you use body weights to propel movements. You are strapped to a harness, a bungee cord that is secured to the ceiling. This form of workout has been around for many years, but only just recently picking momentum in India, quite literally. Here you can see Nitika and me having a lot of fun. A dance-like routine, lunges, jumps, and Peter Pan-like movement. How does this even help?
You burn your beautiful calories in a beautiful way.
Yeah.
Second, you sweat because you sweat, your pores get open and activated.
Yeah.
Because of your heart pumping, there's so much of blood rush, your blockages get open.
Yeah.
Then you have knees functioning.
Yeah.
So the function of your knee, because the format in such a way that it's a low impact.
These exercises are extremely nice. They are basically taking off the weight from your joints. There are certain injuries that you're still predisposed to, especially if you are a person who has low back pain involvement of any kind. So if you're an osteoporotic person, bungee jumping may not be, or the bungee exercises may not be the best workout for you.
Aerial bungee fitness has a lot of benefits. Not only is it a full body workout, it's also low impact exercise, making it suitable for anyone susceptible to injuries. It will give you core strength and stability and enhanced flexibility. It also helps with stress relief and mood enhancement, which is a given with any workout. They're jumping up in the air and giving each other high five, and guess what? They're burning a lot of calories while doing it. Why would you not go in for an exercise which is so much fun? Now, just to give you a download, one session can cost you anything between 800 to 1000 rupees, and you should ideally do it thrice a week to maintain that continuity. I've had a great session with you doing this workout. Tell me a little bit about who should not do this, because it involves a lot of movement.
Okay, so talking about who should not do this, because it's definitely very hard on your heart. So anybody with heart diseases will not perform bungee. Second, pregnant ladies, anybody with knee injuries, any fracture which has not been healed cannot perform this.
Co-powered by The World Comes Together at Sharda University. SBI Mutual Fund, a partner for life. UBI, अच्छे लोग अच्छा बैंक.
watching To The Point. I'm Preeti Choudhry. While all eyes are trained on the ongoing political saga in Maharashtra on which is the real NCP, belongs to whom? Ajit Pawar faction, Sharad Pawar faction. In midst of that, there was also some heavy politicking that went down in the capital, and that was the Congress meet on Rajasthan. With assembly elections in Rajasthan now just less than 6 months away, the Congress party facing a make or break leadership tussle between current Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot and Sachin Pilot. The senior Congress leaders met today to discuss potential strategy for the upcoming election. The visuals that you see are of the Congress senior leadership alongside of Sachin Pilot, and virtually joining was the Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot. There was an attempt to resolve the ongoing leadership dispute. The meeting, which was held at the party's headquarters, saw the participation of Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge, former party chief Rahul Gandhi, Congress General Secretary K.C. Venugopal, State in charge Sukhjinder Randhawa. Also present was State Unit Chief Govind Singh Dottasara and other senior Rajasthan Congress leaders. Mr. Gehlot joined in virtually as he says he's fractured both his toes, but Sachin Pilot was sitting right next to Rahul Gandhi. Sources say Congress might accommodate Pilot now in the role of party's Rajasthan unit chief or the campaign committee in charge. The Congress believes that the BJP is extremely divided in Rajasthan, which is an opportunity for the party to retain the state and break the norm of an alternate government every 5 years. Now, over the past month, Mr. Pilot has been publicly critical of Mr. Gehlot's administration over alleged inaction against corruption charges levied against the previous Vasundhara Raje-led BJP government. Mr. Pilot has also called for the disbanding of the Rajasthan Public Service Commission and demanded action for victims of job exam paper leak. Congress says the party will fight unitedly in the upcoming polls and that the party is fully confident of winning it. Remember, this meet comes on the heels of Congress clearing the mess in Chhattisgarh. Can it assure a truce like Chhattisgarh in the desert state of Rajasthan as well?
29 leaders from Rajasthan have participated in this meeting, including Chief Minister, PCC President and other senior leaders. Everybody unanimously decided that we have to win Rajasthan and we can win Rajasthan easily, provided there should be total unity. Therefore, everybody unanimously resolved that there will be a unity among the Rajasthan Congress.
राजस्थान के विधानसभा को लेकर कांग्रेस अध्यक्ष खड़गे जी, हमारे नेता राहुल गांधी जी, सब लोगों ने, रंधावा जी ने एक मीटिंग कॉल करी थी और सभी राजस्थान के प्रमुख नेताओं को यहाँ पर आमंत्रित किया गया था। लगभग 4 घंटे हमारी ये चर्चा हुई। आने वाले कुछ महीनों के बाद राजस्थान के विधानसभा के चुनाव हैं, उन चुनावों के लिए क्या स्ट्रेटेजी होनी चाहिए, कैसे पिछले 25 सालों में लगातार यहाँ पर एक बार भाजपा एक बार कांग्रेस का जो प्रकरण चल रहा है उसको खत्म कर पुनः दोबारा सरकार कांग्रेस की कैसे बने, इस पर बहुत सार्थक, व्यापक और महत्वपूर्ण चर्चा हुई। सभी मुद्दों पर हम लोगों ने डिस्कशन किया, बड़े खुले दिमाग से किया और मुझे बताते हुए खुशी है कि सभी लोगों ने ये कॉन्फिडेंस व्यक्त किया है कि हम अगले कुछ महीनों में मेहनत कर अपनी सरकार को रिपीट कर सकते हैं।
All right, so how was the peace brokered? Number one, it seems an assurance has been given that the Chief Minister face-off elections will not be announced. Will Pilot once again get the state chief post? That's a big question. All 3 demands of Pilot have been partially accepted, is what we are being given to understand. Now, Congress's leadership issues as well in the recent past, they've been settled. Will the Congress be able to set in Rajasthan is the question. In Karnataka, Dr. D.K. Shivkumar versus Siddaramaiah resolved. Where Chhattisgarh is concerned, Bhupesh Baghel versus T.S. Singh Deo temporarily resolved. T.S. Singh Deo now Deputy Chief Minister. Madhya Pradesh, Kamal Nath versus Digvijay Singh resolved. Clearly, Kamal Nath coming in, possibly being the chief ministerial face and under whom the election would be fought in the state of Madhya Pradesh. But in Rajasthan, Ashok Gehlot versus Sachin Pilot. unresolved. Let's cut across to our guest this evening, Sanjay Jha, political analyst, someone who's batted for Sachin Pilot quite fiercely in the past. Rashid Kidwai, senior journalist. Sharad Kumar, senior editor, Jaipur Bureau. I want to cut across to our Jaipur Bureau chief before we go to Rashid Kidwai and Sanjay Jha. Sharad, क्या हलचल है? कुछ सेटलमेंट दिखाई दे रही है अब, क्योंकि एक बात तो तय है, जो चीफ मिनिस्टर की मांग थी वो अब नहीं रही है। एक स्टेप पीछे सचिन पायलट ने भी लिया है, एक क्या कह रहे हैं, काफी स्टेप पीछे सचिन पायलट गए हैं। क्या प्रॉमिस हुआ है? कुछ आंकड़े निकल के आ रहे हैं?
देखिए, साथ तो थे, भले ही जयपुर और दिल्ली में थे, मगर साथ थे। दिल भी मिल रहे हैं क्या, ये बड़ा सवाल है। हम लोग कर्नाटक की बात करते हैं, छत्तीसगढ़ मॉडल की बात करते हैं, मगर मुख्यमंत्री अशोक गहलोत क्या सचिन पायलट को किसी भी भूमिका में स्वीकार करने के लिए तैयार हैं क्या? क्योंकि जो अंदर रुख रहा, जो हमारे विधायकों से, मंत्रियों से बातचीत हो रही है, मल्लिकार्जुन खड़गे राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष जो थे वो थोड़ा सा कड़े तेवर में थे। जैसे मुख्यमंत्री अशोक गहलोत अपना काम गिना रहे थे तो उन्होंने कहा कि आप बोल लिए हैं तो मैं बोलूं, और फिर उन्होंने कहा कबीर के दोहे सुनाए, काल करे सो आज करे, आज करे सो अब, पल में प्रलय होगी बहुरी करेगा कब। तो ये कहने का मतलब था कि अब कब करोगे, बहुत लेट हो चुका है। ये जो कबीर के दोहे उन्होंने मल्लिकार्जुन खड़गे ने मुख्यमंत्री अशोक गहलोत को सुनाए हैं, मुझे लग रहा है कि कहीं न कहीं अभी तक ये हम साथ साथ हैं पिक्चर रिलीज कर दी कांग्रेस के डायरेक्टर के वेणुगोपाल ने, लेकिन द एंड अभी बाकी है। एंड में क्या होगा, क्या सचिन पायलट किस रोल में होंगे, क्या एआईसीसी के महासचिव बनकर उन्हें यहाँ से हटाया जाएगा? अगर कैंपेन कमेटी के चेयरमैन बनते हैं तो क्या मुख्यमंत्री अशोक गहलोत एक कदम आगे बढ़ा के गले लगाएंगे? क्योंकि आप भी बता रहे हैं प्रीति, हम लोग भी देख रहे हैं कि सचिन पायलट अब पूरी तरह से गांधी परिवार को खुद को सौंप चुके हैं, और गांधी परिवार को लगता है कि हमें इनकी भूमिका तलाशनी होगी। अब लोग कह रहे हैं कि ऐसी क्या इमरजेंसी थी, पैर में चोट लगी थी, 7 दिन का बेड रेस्ट था, 7 दिन पूरा होने वाला था कल, बहुत होता तो 7 दिन और हो जाता, ये मीटिंग ठीक होने के बाद शरीर उपस्थित हो जाते अशोक गहलोत। मगर कांग्रेस ने दिखाने की कोशिश की है कि चुनाव आ गया है, अब आला भी हम हैं और कमान भी मेरे पास है, तो हम आपके बिना भी मीटिंग कर सकते हैं। आप चोटिल हैं तो वीसी से जुड़ जाइए। और जिन नेताओं को बुलाया गया था वो सारे वो नेता थे जो रिकॉन्सिलेटरी बात करते हैं, जो किसी धड़े के नहीं हैं और जो तेवर नहीं दिखाते हैं। तो कहीं ना कहीं एक संदेश दिया है कांग्रेस ने कि जो कांग्रेस पार्टी के बारे में सोचते हैं वो हमारी पार्टी, हम उनको दिल्ली बुलाकर मीटिंग कर सकते हैं, आप लोग लड़ोगे तो लड़ते रहो। एक और बात कही है राहुल गांधी ने कि लॉयल्टी जो है, लॉयल्टी कांग्रेस में रॉयल्टी देगा, हम लॉयल्टी को आगे रखते हैं और कभी न कभी आप लोगों को मिलेगा। वो सचिन पायलट की बगावत का जिक्र था, और 25 सितंबर को जो कुछ मुख्यमंत्री अशोक गहलोत के लोगों ने या इनके कहने पर किया गया, उन दोनों का वो सीधे सीधे जिक्र न करके दोनों नेताओं को एक संदेश देना चाह रहे थे। लेकिन देखिए, सचिन पायलट जिस बात पे अड़े हुए थे प्रीति कि आरपीएससी का पुनर्गठन हो और दूसरा वसुंधरा राजे के शासन के दौरान जो भ्रष्टाचार उसकी जांच हो, तो उनका फेस सेविंग तो देखिए कांग्रेस ने कर दी है कि आपको हम तरजीह दे रहे हैं। अब आगे रोल को लेकर कहा जा रहा है कि हो सकता है कि आज रात तक डिसाइड हो जाए। सचिन पायलट थे,
उन्होंने हर रैली में बहुत बोला था इन तीनों पे कि वो हिलेंगे नहीं जब तक ये 3 चीजें सरकार नहीं मानेगी। एक फेस सेवर दे दिया है उनको। अगर आप देखें तीनों में गहलोत जी ने वो एक्सेप्ट कर लिया है या उनको एक्सेप्ट करने के लिए बोल दिया गया है?
देखिए, एक्सेप्ट कर लेते तो शायद किसी वेणुगोपाल को प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस पे बात नहीं कहनी पड़ती। उन्होंने कल ट्वीट किया, लेकिन ट्वीट में पुनर्गठन की बात जो है वो छुपा गए थे, जिसे केसी वेणुगोपाल को कहना पड़ा कि हम विधेयक लेकर आएंगे और कानून बनाएंगे कि कैसे सदस्य बन सकते हैं। क्योंकि अभी बाबूलाल कटारा पकड़े गए थे। अब राजस्थान में सही भी है कि जिसको जो मन चाहे मुख्यमंत्री बना सकता है आरपीएससी का सदस्य, और फिर पेपर लीक में पकड़े जाते हैं। तो फेस सेविंग तो दे दिया है, लेकिन वही मसला अटका हुआ है। बहुत सारे मंत्रियों और विधायकों ने, 4 मंत्री और विधायक ने कहा कि आप यहाँ पर बीजेपी से जीतने की बात तो कर रहे हो, राहुल गांधी मल्लिकार्जुन खड़गे का, लेकिन जो हमारे 2 बड़े नेता हैं सचिन पायलट, अशोक गहलोत, उनको साथ लाओ, क्योंकि बीजेपी इसी मुद्दे पर हमें घेरती है। उनको कैसे साथ लाओगे, आप इसकी बात करो। राहुल गांधी और मल्लिकार्जुन खड़गे इस बात को सुन रहे थे, तो मुझे लग रहा है कि वो जो फीडबैक लिए हैं हो सकता है कुछ काम करें। अब प्रताप सिंह खाचरियावास जैसे नेता हैं, उन्होंने कहा कि पावर का सेंट्रलाइजेशन हो गया है, एक ही आदमी के पास पावर है, पावर जो है बंटना चाहिए, 3 महीने का समय है, पावर शेयरिंग कीजिए आप। रघु शर्मा जैसे नेता, उन्होंने कहा कि अच्छे 98 के बाद हम कभी बहुमत में नहीं आए हैं, पिछली बार अशोक गहलोत सचिन पायलट साथ थे तब भी हम बहुमत में नहीं आ पाए, तो स्थिति इतनी आसान नहीं है। और राहुल गांधी ने कहा कि योजनाएं जो है अच्छी हैं, मगर सिर्फ योजनाएं नहीं जिता सकती हैं। तो मुझे लगा कि घर संभालने की एक कवायद की शुरुआत है और आज बहुत अच्छा खुशनुमा माहौल में सारे कांग्रेसी खुश हैं वहां से, और सचिन पायलट भी खुश हैं, जो गए थे वो खुश हैं, कार्यकर्ता खुश हैं। मगर फिर कह रहा हूँ कि प्रीति अभी पिक्चर का जो एंड है,
देखिए पिक्चर हर जगह बाकी है। महाराष्ट्र में पिक्चर बाकी है, राजस्थान में पिक्चर बाकी है, हर जगह बाकी है। बने रहिएगा शरद आप हमारे साथ। I just want to bring in Rashid Kidwai, Sanjay Jha into this conversation. Rashid Kidwai, what are your sources telling you? Earlier on, it seemed that the Congress was not in a mood to entertain Sachin Pilot. That has thawed right now. One by one, leadership issues or the crisis that has been faced is seemingly getting resolved in each state. We just saw what went down just 4 days ago, where Mr. Dio was given deputy CM-ship. This is a little more complicated than that. But Rashid Kidwai, what was offered? Because we are given to understand, number one, Sachin Pilot was very clear that he wanted to be the campaign committee in charge where Rajasthan is concerned. At least he'll have a say in ticket distribution. The other thing which seemingly was offered is the post of General Secretary, either Maharashtra or Kamal Nath saying, because close to Sachin Pilot, that you come to Madhya Pradesh. What really went down, Rashid Kidwai?
I think, Preeti, today's upshot is that assertive Kharge, it is a return of the high command culture. The Congress president is having a kind of, leverage and a kind of mandate that, he can resolve things independently. So it's a bad day for Ashok Gehlot for a variety of reasons, but I'm not sure whether it's the end game for Ashok Gehlot because, his camp can play some monkey trick. So we have to wait and watch. But I think in terms of optics, the fact of the matter is that Mr. Kharge is not only able to tame Ashok Gehlot, but he has also brought, Sachin Pilot on board. Now, Sachin Pilot is ready to take a Delhi assignment or assignment in Jaipur. So he is not, he is not blocking anything. So in that sense, all credit should go to Mr. Kharge that, as you cited example of Chhattisgarh, then we have seen in Karnataka, we've seen it in many places. So Kharge is doing it in a very decisive manner. I've covered Congress for many decades. I have not seen that, either Sitaram Kesri or PV Narasimha Rao, being able to do things in organization the way Mr. Kharge is doing it. And this goes to his credit. And recently he had a one-on-one meeting with Rahul Gandhi. So it seems that he and Gandhi family are not on the same page and he's able to do much more. So this is a positive signal for the Congress, big day for Congress. As I said, now how Mr. Gehlot reacts to all this, because just one last thing, Preeti, the fact that Congress saying that, no chief ministerial face will be projected is all right. When there is not an incumbent Congress chief minister, it's bizarre because you can't say this that Bhupesh Baghel will not be the chief ministerial face in Chhattisgarh. So the fact that they have said that Ashok Gehlot, in effect, what Venu Gopal has said, that Ashok Gehlot would not be a chief ministerial face in Rajasthan, I think this is very, very significant. And I don't know how
it is significant, and clearly it's you don't know how is Rashid Kidwai, the sheer fact that Mr. Gehlot, we wish him well, we wish his health well, but he was in the hospital at the right time where the meeting was to be called and then joined virtually because he says he's fractured both his toes. But Sanjay Jha, I want to bring you in. Do you also see that, Sachin Pilot also needed to, and he has now, clearly calmed down a bit, taken a step back, reassessed his position and then played his, hand, because earlier on he was also being very aggressive in terms of language outside and then the stand that he also has taken with the Congress High Command. There's been a climb down on his part as well.
Preeti, you look at the larger context of this current development in Rajasthan. Number one,
the Congress has clearly got a tailwind after Karnataka. Now, we all know that there are 5 states going to the elections in December, November, December. 3 of them, if you include, are in the center and central India and the western India, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, and Madhya Pradesh. And then you have Telangana in the south and Mizoram in the northeast. And I think the Congress is really at the moment believing, and I think correctly so, that they have a chance to actually come up with a phenomenal performance. The news so far, I mean, politics is extremely fluid, but the news so far is extremely encouraging for the Congress in Madhya Pradesh and in Chhattisgarh and in Mizoram. After what has happened in Manipur, I think you're going to find a significant ripple effect of that. And in Telangana, I also believe that once again, the Congress seems to be getting its edge back into play. So at the moment, and I agree with Rashid what he's saying here, that Mr. Kharge becoming the Congress president and, Rahul Gandhi being relieved of this executive decision making, that is not an easy job, I think is turning out to be a very formidable combination. So the only state where the Congress seemed to be concerned, and genuinely so, was Rajasthan, and because of a very, brazen public gridlock between the 2 leaders. And I think the Congress has recognized that they have now a distinct chance to, hopefully upset the BJP in Rajasthan, because it is a swing state that moves from one state to the one party to the other. But I can tell you this with confidence, that Sachin at no point, and I'm saying so here because I know him pretty well, at no point entertained the prospect, which was being speculated by many, that he will leave the Congress or start his own party. Sachin was always of the conviction that the party has to give him firstly recognize what he did 5 years ago and the way he's hung on despite the extremely awkward situation that happened a few years ago. But he never threw in the towel. And I do believe it's a win-win for the Congress to bring these 2 stalwarts. One is young, one is older.
You can try, but will it happen is the question. And Rashid Kidwai, the sheer fact right now, will Sachin Pilot, who has been adamant, at least with the fact that he wanted to stay in the state-level politics of Rajasthan and given a position in Rajasthan, will he now accept maybe a General Secretary Madhya Pradesh or a Maharashtra, which possibly he was offered today?
Yes, I think Preeti, from the after today's meeting, I think Sachin Pilot is very much open to the idea, because he has put that ball in Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge's court. Mr. Kharge has won him over, not with, kind of confrontation, but, with reason and with logic and rationale, etc. So I see in Madhya Pradesh, there are over 25 assembly seats where there is a sizable, Gujar vote. So Mr. Pilot is a quite effective person as a campaigner.
And he has a great working relationship with Mr. Kamal Nath as well.
Precisely. But Preeti, there's just one thing very quickly. See, the problem is if there is going to be an election the same time in Rajasthan, and if Mr. Sachin Pilot is in charge of Madhya Pradesh, another election bouncer, I think that doesn't gel very well. So I think Sachin is going to seek time till November, just 6 months, and till then he would want to be in Rajasthan, and after that, of course, he'll be free to take up a kind of General Secretary's post. But he's left it to Kharge.
All right, if he's open to it, because till now our understanding was that he was very clear that, he's cut his teeth, earned his spurs in the state of Rajasthan, would want to continue with Rajasthan politics, especially at this time where, you're at a crossroads where leadership is concerned. Sanjay Jha, you wanted to make a point.
Yeah, Preeti, I agree with you completely. Sachin is invested in Rajasthan. That is the state that he actually helped bring back to the Congress at a time when the Narendra Modi wave was very strong. And I do think that his political career, frankly, has fructified from that state. So the question of him abandoning Rajasthan doesn't arise, because if the Congress does well in Rajasthan, or even if it doesn't do as well in Rajasthan, I do see that the message being sent out is that Sachin is definitely the future. I don't think anybody will debate that. Even Mr. Gehlot will agree with it.
I'm going to quickly, well, you don't know if Mr. Gehlot will agree with it. I don't think Mr. Gehlot is going to agree with it. And Sharad,
I agree with you.
I want to bring in Sharad quickly on that. Sharad, जो दिल मिलने की आप बात कर रहे थे, अगर सचिन पायलट कहें कि देखिए हमें कैंपेन इंचार्ज तो आपको बनाना पड़ेगा, वो कैसे एक्सेप्ट होगा वहां पर? फिर वही बात आ जाएगी टिकट डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की, और आप तो जानते ही हैं क्योंकि बहुत बार गहलोत साहब खुद जो जादूगर है उसको बार प्ले करते हैं.
मुझे लग रहा है कि मल्लिकार्जुन खड़गे जी और राहुल गांधी दोनों की भूमिका यहाँ पर महत्वपूर्ण होगी। अगर वो समझाव परस्यू कर पाते हैं तो ठीक है, वरना डंडा चलाना पड़ेगा, तभी जाके मिल पाएंगे। वैसे आइडियल सिचुएशन में ये मिलने से रहे, और कांग्रेस के आम कार्यकर्ता का ऐसा मानना है कि जब तक ये दोनों मिलेंगे नहीं तब तक राजस्थान हम जीते नहीं। एक परसेप्शन बना हुआ है सचिन पायलट गुजर वोट बैंक, गुजर नेता, लेकिन आप चले जाओ जाटलैंड में, नागौर में, या फिर बाड़मेर में, या फिर हनुमानगढ़ में, पूर्वी राजस्थान से बड़ी बड़ी रैलियां उन्होंने की है। तो वो एक परसेप्शन पता नहीं दिल्ली में ऐसा बना हुआ है कि वो गुजर नेता है, मगर सचिन पायलट का जो अपील है अक्रॉस ऑल कास्ट है। तो इसीलिए कार्यकर्ता भी चाह रहे हैं कि अशोक गहलोत का अनुभव, उनका काम और सचिन पायलट का नाम साथ रहे। इसीलिए कार्यकर्ताओं में खुशी भी है, क्या पता कोई राह निकले यहाँ से। मगर फिर कह रहा हूँ कि दिल मिलना इतना आसान नहीं है, ये खाई इतनी गहरी है।
जी, खाई गहरी है पर पता नहीं हो जाए, अभी भर जाए, वही बात है। बहुत शुक्रिया all three of you, thank you for joining us, especially with what Sharad was saying, where the Gujar vote is concerned. Well, you know, Sachin Pilot is very clear that he is not just a Gujaron ka neta or a leader of the Gujars, and that possibly is one of the reasons he might not go to a state like Madhya Pradesh, where there are about 20 seats which have the impact, where the Gujar vote impacts. He wants to be a leader in Rajasthan. Like I said earlier, he's cut his teeth there, he's earned his spurs, his political career has been, rests on his laurels won in Rajasthan. Will he let it go so easily? Well, today it seemed that at least the High Command was concerned, was tilting maybe towards Sachin Pilot. What tomorrow brings, we'll keep you updated. A quick break up next, Rahul Kaval.
Tell us what the brand means for India, sir. The premium motorcycling, and of course for Hero MotoCorp, entering from an Aam Aadmi segment to a premium motorcycle, that to a super luxury premium motorcycling, sir. How does it feel as a brand, sir?
Well, the brand Harley-Davidson, of course, is already present in India, now being distributed by Hero very successfully. There has been a very successful transition from Harley's earlier business model to the current business model of distribution. So the brand is very well known, very popular here. There is a large set of customers who were wanting the Harley-Davidson brand, but it was out of reach for them. Now, with the introduction and the launch of the Harley-Davidson X440 this evening, booking starting tomorrow, Harley-Davidson brand is going to become in the reach and affordable for many, many more consumers who would want a Harley-Davidson, which is exactly what we are wanting to do.
So how excited are you when it comes to, tying up with Hero MotoCorp, one of the largest motorcycling companies in the world? Harley-Davidson also one of the biggest names in the super premium luxury segment of motorcycling. How does it feel to tie up with Hero and eventually trying to get a good market share in India?
Well, very excited. First of all, we never left India. Yeah. I changed the business model to be more successful than we have been in the past by truly partnering with one of the leaders in India in terms of manufacturing and engineering. It's a perfect 1=3 scenario. As you know, Hero took over our distribution for Harley-Davidson when we, in 2020, when we started our new hardwire strategy, which also included a key pillar to selectively expand into new business segments. And that was one segment that Dr. Munjal and I decided back then in 2020 could be a great opportunity. Ever since then, it's actually become a very fast-growing premium segment in India, and to be able to launch a bike that was originated in 2020, that is designed, that is engineered and has the look, sound and feel of a true Harley-Davidson, manufactured in India, and India is a very special day for us.
And how many motorcycles are you planning to get into India through Hero, and how much investment, Pavanji, also I'll take some numbers out there, how much investment is the company undertaking from either a Harley or your internal investments? How is the numbers matching up there, sir?
Well, Niranjan, in his earlier discussion interviews with you all, has already spoken about the investments that Hero is making now and going forward, both in the premium segment and electrification. Hero's focus is huge right now on electrification and the premium segment strategy. So he's already given those numbers to over 1,500 crores every year going forward. The rest of the question, I think, was...
Weather forecast now. Delhi, maximum 36 and minimum 26 degrees. Mumbai, maximum 28 and minimum 24 degrees. Kolkata, maximum 34 and minimum 26 degrees. Bangalore, maximum 25 and minimum 19 degrees. Chennai, maximum 33 and minimum 26 degrees. Hyderabad, maximum 29 and minimum 23 degrees.
Breathe, breathe, breathe.
A stronger core, a toned figure, classical yoga. Add some anti-gravity into the mix. And you have this fun, elegant and rather exciting aerial yoga practice going for you. Celebrities all over are obsessed with this Instagrammable yoga. They've been hanging upside down like owls of the aerial silks suspended from the ceiling. The acrobatic aspect makes it a lot of fun and rather very clickable. Shilpa Shetty, Alia Bhatt, Jackie Fernandez, Kareena Kapoor Khan, Ananya Pandey, Malaika Arora and so many more have shown us how they look after their bodies and tone those abs for a beautifully strong core that makes age look like just another number. Aerial yoga is a hybrid one. Developed by Michelle Dortignac in 2006, it involves dancing, Pilates, yoga poses and tons of acrobatic moves.
You have to add on to other ways of format as well if you want to see yourself into a progress to aerial. So either you do your body weight workouts, either you do yoga, either you do ashtanga, anything that has to be, alternate.
If you get bored going to the gym every day or running or walking does not cut it for you, give this a shot, this anti-gravity yoga as a lifestyle change. It will help you maintain great fitness, help with flexibility and balance. Just remember to check with your doctor first. Yes, doctor, because it is so dynamic that there are some who should not do it. Pregnant women, people with migraines, or anyone who is not allowed to hang upside down for medical reasons, people with blood pressure issues. Your doctor can decide if you are suited for it or not. With that clearance, get set and go.
Heart patients, people with cataract eyes, eye operations, people with high fluctuating BPs, definitely they cannot perform aerial yoga. Rest, everybody, depending on their strength, depending on the progression towards flexibility, can perform aerial yoga.
We get it if normal yoga is boring for you, and hence look at how the aerial one works.
Keep breathing, do not hold your breath.
One session can cost you approximately 800 rupees depending on where you go. You require a minimum of 2 to 3 sessions a week for 3 months to learn this properly. And while it looks far more exciting than regular yoga, it has benefits aplenty. It enhances flexibility, boosts your mental health, it can boost spiritual well-being, It could help strengthen your core, help tone the body, help you achieve overall fitness goals. Indeed, this practice is picturesque and looks too tough for beginners. But with the right instructor, it is super simple for most who are into fitness already, with an additional benefit of leaving you feeling super zen. In New Delhi with Nitika Gandhi, Lifestyle Bureau, India Today.
Presented by RP Sanjeev Goenka Group, Growing Legacies.
Co-presented by Century Ply Club Prime, Raho Befikar.
Co-presented by Macho Hand, Bade Aaram Se.
Powered by NECC, Sunday Hoya Monday, Rose Khao Monday. Co-powered by the new Kia Seltos, the badass reborn.
Good evening and welcome. You're watching the News Track. I'm Rahul Kamal. What can India do to pressurize the Justin Trudeau government into ensuring that Khalistani supporters do not have a free run in Canada? That's my top focus on the News Track.
Kill India posters. Khalistani gatherings. Open threat to diplomats. But Trudeau deflects India's concerns. India puts Canada PM on notice.
We have seen some comments, at least the media reports about comments by Prime Minister Trudeau. But let me make the larger point that the issue is not about freedom of expression, but its misuse for advocating violence, for propagating separatism, and for legitimizing terrorism.
Is Trudeau a terror sympathizer?
Time for a change in this country.
Trudeau backing terror for votes. Big focus on Newstrack.
The Trudeau government depends on a party called the NDP, the New Democratic Party, to ensure it stays in majority in Canada. And the NDP is run by Jagmeet Singh, who's a separatist politician who has pro-Khalistan views. So how can India try and break this nexus so that Justin Trudeau and the government of Canada realizes that you can't give terrorists a free run? This is completely unacceptable. We'll get into that. Here's a look at the headlines today. The Parivaar war continues. Uncle Sharad expels nephew Ajit, declares that he's the only NCP president. Ajit calls Sharad Pawar's meeting in Delhi illegal. Karnataka Speaker suggests a separate VVIP lane for lawmakers at toll plazas. Has to backtrack after outrage. Now says this was a suggestion made by ex-MLAs. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Stalin hits out of the centre over the UCC. Says it's being brought in as revenge against those opposing the BJP. NDA ally AIADMK also opposes one nation, one law. Days after a Dalit man was urinated on, Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister washes the victim's feet and apologizes for the incident. Congress snipe says Shivraj Chauhan and his government can't wash away their sins. India's moon mission Chandrayaan-3 to be launched on the 14th of July. It will attempt a soft landing on the moon by delivering a lander and a rover to the lunar surface. The Canadian government is under fire for a massive Khalistani surge in the country. But Prime Minister Justin Trudeau doesn't think he has a problem on his hands. While Khalistani armies have been holding major rallies in Canadian cities, Trudeau thinks India's claim that his government isn't doing enough to crack down on the extremists is wrong. He thinks this is about freedom of speech. The big question is, why is Trudeau soft on Khalistani supporters, especially since the government went after Iranian protesters in a big way? When the protests were happening in Iran, there were supporters in Canada who were protesting. The government then came down hard, and those were just protesters. Here are terrorists who are advocating violent causes. Why is Mr. Trudeau not acting against them?
Kill India rallies. Bid to set consulates on fire. Threats to diplomats. Unrestricted by any authorities, the Khalistani groups across the United States, Canada and the United Kingdom are having a free run. Just days after an attempt was made to set the Indian consulate in San Francisco ablaze, a new Khalistani rally is being planned in the United Kingdom. A poster promoting a Khalistan Kill India rally outside the Indian High Commission in London on July 8 has surfaced. The poster carries images of Indian High Commissioner to the UK, Vikram Doraiswamy, and the Consul General of India in Birmingham, Dr. Shashank Vikram. Similar posters targeting Indian diplomats were seen outside Indian missions in Canada, US, and Australia. According to intelligence agency sources, Khalistanis like Gurpatwant Singh, Pannu and other K groups are openly getting help from Pakistani spy agency ISI. These acts have lit a major diplomatic and political fire. Notoriously soft on Khalistani terrorists, Canada has failed to take action against Khalistanis. On the contrary, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has gone on to accuse India of false remarks and asserted that Canada takes every kind of threat very seriously. Trudeau is being accused of pandering to the Khalistani vote bank in that country.
They are wrong. Canada has always taken extremely seriously violence and threats of violence. We've always taken serious action against terrorism, and we always will. We have an extremely diverse country, and freedom of expression is something that we have, but we will always make sure that we are pushing back against violence and extremism in all its forms.
The media reports about comments by Prime Minister Trudeau, but let me make the larger point that the issue is not about freedom of expression, but its misuse for advocating violence, for propagating separatism, and for legitimizing terrorism.
The fine words and sentiments apart, it is a fact that Canada has tolerated Khalistani provocations against India for a long time. The United States, on the other hand, has assured that steps shall be taken to ensure the safety and security of Indian diplomats.
We take very seriously the safety and security of diplomats that are living in the United States. We have been in close contact with Indian authorities, with local law enforcement. We are trying to take the necessary steps to ensure that Indian diplomatic community feels safe and secure here, and we'll continue with that work going forward.
The Indian government is treating attacks on our missions as serious provocations.
हमने उनको रिक्वेस्ट की है कि वो उनको खालिस्तानियों को स्पेस न दे, क्योंकि उनकी सोच जो है ये रैडिकल एक्सट्रीमिस्ट विचारधारा जो है वो ना हमारे लिए अच्छा है, ना उनके लिए है, ना हमारे रिश्तों के लिए है। तो ये जो पोस्टर का विषय जो है ये हम जरूर उन सरकारों से उठाएंगे।
But desperate for attention, Khalistani groups are adamant on pulling every kind of stunt possible. Bureau Report, India Today.
When asked why wasn't he doing enough against those terrorists in Canada who are espousing the Khalistani cause and are advocating armed action in India, Justin Trudeau says, we are a diverse country and we have freedom of expression, but we will always make sure we are pushing back against violence and extremism in all its forms. But that is exactly what the Canadian Prime Minister isn't doing. And I want to tell you about what happened on the 8th day of October 2022. This is when in Canada there were protests in support of the protesters in Iran. So people of Iranian origin and those who supported the protests that were taking place in Iran. This is after a lady had been killed because of the hijab. There were massive protests in Iran. At that time, the Canadian Prime Minister issued a statement, and his government said that we will be taking stronger action against members of the Iranian regime, those who are protesting, including ensuring that we go after them for any assets or homes that they have in Canada. So action has been taken, as we mentioned the last time, even in the Freedom Convoy protests in February 2022, action taken even at that time where emergency powers were invoked to end protests. So it's not as if when it suits the Canadian government, they don't act against protesters. They acted against the anti-vaccine mandate protesters, where bank accounts were to be frozen, and therefore, and that happened again in February 2022. So therefore, when it suits his political agenda, and these are important issues, freezing bank accounts of those who are protesting against vaccines, but it could be dismissed as freedom of expression. It's their choice. Hey, they don't want a vaccine, no vaccine. Djokovic didn't want a vaccine. Nobody froze his bank account. So then why do this? And why not follow similar principles? To talk about this, I'm joined on this broadcast by Vivek Kajju, former secretary in the Ministry of External Affairs. We have Sushant Sareen, one of India's best-known strategic affairs experts. Terry Milevsky is back with us, senior Canadian journalist who spent a lot of time looking at Khalistani terror. He's the author of the book Blood for Blood, 50 Years, the Global Khalistan Project. We have Jagmohan Singh, editor of the World Sikh News and human rights activist, and Puneet Sahani, expert on the evolution of Sikh identity and Khalistani terrorism. I want to go across to Sushant Sareen first. On Justin Trudeau's response, saying that we are a diverse country, we have freedom of expression, we'll always make sure we are pushing back against violence and extremism in all its forms. There seems to be a big disconnect between the public mood in India, what the Indian government is saying, and the Canadian Prime Minister's interpretation, where Trudeau seems to be saying, it's all Changasi, sab Changasi, this is freedom of expression. Let the boys and girls say what they want.
Rahul, clearly Justin Trudeau is talking nonsense. Now, since when has violent speech, hate speech, threats to kill somebody, threats to assassinate diplomats become freedom of speech? Is that the standard of freedom of speech in Canada? Is that the standard to which the Canadians conform to when it involves, say, a life threat to a Canadian politician or a Canadian diplomat? Will it be kosher if tomorrow people in India start issuing death threats to Canadian diplomats in India? Will that come? And we are much more diverse than what the Canadians are, mind you, right? So that is one. Secondly, when he says that we have pushed back against terrorism, can he please tell us how they have pushed back against these terrorists? What have they done to bring these terrorists to book? And forget about what has happened recently. Please ask them to tell us what have they done against these Khalistani scum who have intimidated normal, ordinary people. They have vandalized temples. They have done all kinds of other things. What pushback has come from the Canadian side? Can he please let us know? Because we are clearly not aware of what exactly he has done. Number three, we keep talking about his political compulsions. Now, Jagmeet Singh might be part of the Khalistani scum brigade. That's pretty clear. But are you trying to tell me that the NDP is basically a Khalistani party, that he is so terrified of Jagmeet Singh and the NDP and Jagmeet Singh's hold over the NDP, that Mr. Trudeau has lost all political savvy to try and, make sure that relations with India and Canada is not a Pakistan or a China, that it's a hostile country, it's supposedly a friendly country. For them to carry out or allow this kind of activity to take place in Canada, I don't see how this is acceptable. And finally, let us examine Mr. Trudeau's own record. Puneet, of course, is very qualified to talk on it. But Mr. Trudeau himself has sacked people from his own party who have stood up against the Khalistanis. And he has planted a whole lot of these Khalistanis in his cabinet. So for Trudeau to pretend that he is actually not hand in gloves, not sleeping with the Khalistani element, not holding a brief for them, I don't think it convinces anybody in India.
Terry Milevsky, you've studied the Khalistan problem. You've looked at the Canadian Prime Minister's response. He says, we are doing what we can. We take action against violence and threats of violence extremely seriously. However, those who are issuing these threats, taking out posters, wanting to kill our ambassador, our consul general in the United States, in Australia, in Canada, no action has been taken against them. Does the Canadian Prime Minister's response convince you in the least, sir?
Your audio is cut out.
Okay, can you hear me okay?
Try that again. Your audio is...
Okay, I'm going to ask you about the Canadian Prime Minister's response. He says that there is freedom of expression, but we are against violence and extremism. He also hasn't so far acted against those who are issuing threats to Indian ambassadors.
All right. I'm sorry, I didn't hear part of your question, but I get the drift, and you're quite right. First, there's no question that what has happened with these posters is quite simply that Seeks for Justice, the organization that is running the referendum on independence for Khalistan, is painting targets on the backs of Indian diplomats. It's impermissible. It's outrageous. And the Prime Minister's statement, it pains me to say as a Canadian, is not just clueless. I mean, it totally misses the moment, fails to understand how seriously this must be taken. And secondly, it's false. It's flat out false for any Prime Minister of Canada to look at Canada's record in dealing with terrorism. And I mean, in particular, the one that does involve Khalistanis, the bombing, the Kanishka bombing, the bombing of Flight 182 in 1985 with the deaths of 329 innocent civilians. Any Prime Minister who could look at the extensive record, the hundreds of pages of findings and evidence in that case, that any Prime Minister could say that we have been extremely serious about terrorism is utter nonsense. I'm amazed that the Prime Minister seems not even to have been briefed at all, let alone briefed properly. I mean, the Canadian officials, spies really, had the culprits in Air India under surveillance, and they were wiretapping their phones for 3 months before the bombing and did nothing about it. They tailed them to a test bombing 3 weeks before the real thing, did nothing about it when they heard the explosion in the woods. And, by the way, 3 weeks before the real thing, the government of India and the Air India bosses sent pleas to Canada saying, look, you've got to assure that absolutely tight baggage security on our flights leaving Canada, because we're getting a wave of threats and somebody's going to try to smuggle a bomb on board in either the checked baggage.
You know, what is so shocking?
Which is exactly what happened.
Mr.
So
Terry
that's
Milevsky,
not extremely, that's not serious.
Why does Justin Trudeau have blinkers on? Why is he so soft on the issue of terrorism? If this was a rally in support of Osama bin Laden, or if this is a rally in support of some Taliban terrorist, I don't think Justin Trudeau would be soft in this fashion. Then he wouldn't say this is freedom of speech.
It's cowardice. It's cowardice. The conventional answer, as you well know, is, oh, it's vote bank politics. They don't want to give up the votes of the Khalistanis. But, I mean, that's cowardice in the face of a very feeble threat. I mean, there are just as many Hindus in Canada as there are Sikhs in the Indian diaspora here. I mean, there's no real need, if you look at the voting figures, to be terrified that if I say a bad word about the Khalistani movement, that I won't get elected next time. Because it's very difficult to get elected, in fact, in Canada, if you are an openly Khalistani sympathizer. It's best to conceal that and to deny that, then you might get elected. I don't know why they are so chicken in the face of such a feeble threat. And now they're faced with an opportunity which they're failing to take, an opportunity to say, okay, now they've gone too far. You can't threaten diplomats. We're going to crack down and we're going to do something about it. And I heartily endorse Sushant's comments a moment ago about the feebleness of this alleged pushback. My question is, what pushback? The foreign minister has made a statement saying that these posters are unacceptable, I quote. Well, why are we accepting them then if they're unacceptable? What are we doing to stop it? Why do these people have a permit, if indeed they do have a permit, to have a march? Why is the municipal authority letting them have a march in the name of a rally to threaten diplomats with death? That's what this is. These are death threats. So the whole attitude of the government, as represented by Prime Minister Trudeau's statement, is totally lacking in seriousness.
Vivek Kajju, you know, if this was a protest in support of the Taliban, Justin Trudeau would have come down hard. There is no question about it. Some of them are Khalistani terrorists, the others are supporters of the Khalistani cause, and yet, because of their dependence on a party which is run by a Khalistani sympathizer, and because of their perception, as Terry explains, that going against the Khalistan sentiment will hurt Trudeau in the next elections, he doesn't seem to be doing enough. What can and what should India do next beyond the press conference of the Ministry of External Affairs, beyond what Dr. Jaishankar has said?
Rahul, please permit me a couple of minutes because I think this is a very serious issue. The first point is that it is the responsibility of Canada to ensure the security of our diplomats, and we must hold Canada's feet to the fire on this. There is simply no way in which we can allow them to escape this responsibility. The second point is that it is absolutely nonsense, and I agree with Sushant completely and with Terry, to say that this promotion of Khalistan through what is suggested clearly as violent means is part of freedom of expression. But that, and I'm not, as a former diplomat, I'm not interested in what are Mr. Trudeau's domestic political compulsions. That is for him to work out. In international affairs, one doesn't look and provide alibis to a person like Mr. Trudeau for his political problems. But the third point, and that is what you asked me, what can India do? I think that is a serious issue that we must look at. I think we have evaded our responsibility. Even in the clip of Arindam Bagchi that you mentioned, that you played out, he suddenly, instead of calling out Canada straight away, he went to a larger issue. I recollect that when the Brampton parade was out, which showed Indira, obviously there was a depiction of Indira Gandhi being shot at by her two security personnel. I regret to say that the Foreign Minister, External Affairs Minister, did not even name Indira Gandhi. He went again to the larger issue of terrorism being bad for Canada, being bad for us, etc. We must call out Canada straight away and not get involved in our own domestic politics in this process. And my third point, we've been too indulgent with the Canadians. For instance, the Canadians, do you know, ask visa seekers who belong to and are former members of Indian Defence Forces to list out their service records. And very often they deny visas to those of our service personnel who have served in Jammu and Kashmir. This is a fact. You can check it out.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And yet, Rahul, what have we done about it? It is not only Mr. Modi's government. It is the previous government too. I recollect, and permit me to say this, as secretary, when I was serving as a secretary in the Ministry of External Affairs, there was a case which came out in the papers of a BSF person belonging to the BSF, and I recollect calling in the Canadian High Commissioner and telling him in no uncertain terms that he had no business to ask for the service record of our personnel. These were confidential documents, and these confidences are to be maintained. And
no, so but what can we do? That's the question. Remember.
No. Please.
Can we do anything extra, sir, beyond what's been said?
That is what I'm saying. It is preposterous to allow our people to give service records, and we must tell the Canadians this. Now, it is difficult politically.
They'll tell you we won't give you a visa.
Pardon?
They'll say we won't give you a visa. Forget it. We reject your application.
No, then we must accept that our relations with Canada will be downgraded. We should have no reluctance. Now, there is a large Indian diaspora in Canada, and all political parties in India have connections with diasporas. We must accept, all as a political class as a whole must accept that despite the diaspora, despite these connections, if the Canadians are persisting in this behavior, then the diaspora's interests are one, but India's interests are supreme. And
okay, Sushant Sareen, specific ideas on what should India do? Vivek Kajju says downgrade relations with Canada.
Rahul, there have been people in the Indian Ministry of External Affairs who have actually retaliated against the steps that the Canadians have been taking on this visa issue. So for every visa they have blocked, we've blocked 20 of theirs, including of their officials, including of their relatives, family members, all kinds of other things. Relations between India and Canada are pretty strained right now, and for justifiable reasons as far as we are concerned. The Canadians, do a lot of grandstanding and moralizing, much like the Brits and the others have done. And now they are all having to pay a price, just as the Canadians will pay a price. Number one. Number two, I think we need to crack down very hard on this particular action, what Mr. Kajju is talking about. Number two, I think we need to, the government doesn't need to do it, but there are Canadian diplomats out here. If you are allowing people to paint target on the backs of my diplomats, I think a quid pro quo is called for. As simple as that.
No, but that would be a very low-level tactic. Why, if others are going low, why should we go lower?
Yeah, look, it's all a very... Are you trying to tell me that what the Canadians are doing is very high-level diplomacy?
Of course
not. Is that
not.
what your argument is?
Not at all.
So,
no, but I'm saying you don't have to go down the same path.
Pakistanis, one second, Rahul, when the Pakistanis would assault Indian diplomats, do you think a démarche or something like that would work with the Pakistanis? You caught hold of their guys out here and you beat the hell out of them. And that the message sinks in real fast at that point of time. So, it has to be a quid pro quo. If you are going to mistreat my diplomats, you are going to mistreat my people, I'm going to do the same thing to your guys. It's as simple as that. And if this is not acceptable, then start downgrading relations. Frankly speaking, I don't think there's much to gain from Canada if they continue along this path. What is the difference between what the Canadians are doing and what the Pakistanis do? The Pakistanis tell us that please remain engaged with us, otherwise the terrorists will win. The Canadians are saying the same damn thing, that you continue doing business with us, we'll continue doing all sorts of things with you, but we will not stop the terrorists. How does that work for me?
Puneet Sahni, do you have any specific ideas on how India can try and break the current situation where Canada claims completely wrongly that it's doing enough, but chooses not to act against those who put up posters advocating violence? What can and should India do?
So, Jai Ma Bharti Rahul, thank you for letting me speak. So, I would just make, what Mr. Trudeau is saying is a bunch of lies. And if I had more time, I would have actually explained. But anyway, so his father, Pierre Trudeau, this guy, Talvinder Parmar, there was an extradition request in 1982. And he did not extradite the terrorists to India because he said India did not respect the sovereignty of the Queen or something like that, some ridiculous reason. And that guy went on to bomb the Air India airliner. So much for Canada doesn't support terrorism. Now, the other thing actually is what is very important is Trudeau himself, part out of ideology. It's not that he can't do. He has gone out of his way to destroy political career of Sikhs who took the courage to speak out against the Khalistanis. So on the west coast of Vancouver, there was Braj Dahan, and Terry had actually done this report, and I put also on my tweet. It's on the top of my tweet. Anybody can read it. He foisted this Khalistani on top of them, Harjit Sajjan. And these people, they are Amritdhari Sikhs. They left the party in disgust that we can't be part of this Khalistan thing. Then the other side, and this is like the most shocking thing, the Brampton, this area where this is the Punjab of Canada. The MP was a Jat Sikh Ramesh Sangha. There was an intelligence report that this Khalistan terrorism is on an upswing. He basically said, I'm a proud Sikh. But, Khalistan terrorism, so I am against terrorism. Why are you conflating these two? For that, would you believe, Rahul, what they did to him? They called Ramesh Sangha, who is an MP, who has votes of Punjabis. He's a Jat Sikh himself. This Trudeau and his henchmen, they called him a racist. A Sikh is standing up and who represents the most number of Punjabis, and he's speaking out against Khalistan terrorism. He was called a racist and he was kicked out of the caucus or the party. And now that person, his political career is destroyed and he runs a law practice now. So this Trudeau has not done anything. He has gone out of his way and taken vengeance on and nobody speaks it. People are terrified because of this. If they can do this to an MP, imagine about the average person. So now with Twitter, it's like Terry and me and a few other people. We make a noise about it, that this is coming out. So if you see this Mrs. Gandhi tableau, that they have completely normalized this terrorism and Rahul, I will say, please come. I was just in Canada. I'm not just talking about you as a journalist. I'm talking to you as a Sikh. You are also a Sikh. You grew up in India like me, and we always got so much honor, and we were so proud to be Sikhs. You just come to Canada and go to any Gurdwara. You will land on Toronto on this Pearson airport, and next to it is a Martin Gurdwara. You go and you will feel ashamed, and you will say, I will never send my kids or anybody near a Gurdwara. Do you know what there is? There is a big photo of Kulwinder Malli. What is Kulwinder Malli? What had he done? He had stopped a bus in Ladru and taken the Hindus out and, roasted with bullets 35 Hindus. And then he went to Fatehabad, the same gang. So in 24 hours, and again they roasted Hindus. So they killed 70 Hindus. This is what they are teaching, this hatred in Gurdwara. But nobody has the courage to say something because, they can destroy an MP. So what are ordinary people like this? So it's not, this was saying, there is a diaspora there, we don't care. Oh, diaspora is the biggest impacted community here. They have been terrorized. If they can paint a target on the back of a Consul General. So what is an average Indian?
So what's your suggestion? What should India do? What can India do? What must India do?
This is what the only person they ever listened to was the person who set them straight, who was also a Jat Sikh and who had seen terrorism, was Captain Amrinder Singh. And he said Canada should be taken to United Nations for promoting terrorism. And he did not meet the Khalistanis, and then they immediately behaved, no, we are against Khalistan, and they did it. You should degrade the diplomatic relations from High Commissioner level to Charge d'Affaires level. And this is the first thing. And you should ban WSO, which has infiltrated all the Canadian institutions like Muslim Brotherhood, and they bully everybody. So this is what they are doing. So if you cannot do these two steps, then you can't do anything, and you have left these people to the wolves.
Jagmohan Singh, there really is no justification, no matter what your ideological point of view, to put out a target on ambassadors, to suggest violence against them, to put them in the crosshairs. This is completely unacceptable action. And yet there are many who simply aren't willing to speak up against supporting terrorism.
This is
the panelists before me have been talking about history of 1985 without talking about the fact that you must understand whether it is the protagonists of self-determination, whether in India or in Canada. There is a problem. The problem is that India views everything as a law and order issue. And it is from this it flows that senior panelists would say that, you know, we will have a tit for tat policy. Now, it doesn't work like this. India and Canada must sit down together and understand that this is a conflict between the Sikhs and the Indian state, and therefore we need to see as to how we can ensure that
to be on the show. I mean, this is absolutely atrocious stuff, unacceptable totally to me, and I'm sure to the other panelists. As an Indian,
you were given adequate time to speak, honorable sir.
Yeah, we were given
will have the
adequate time,
patience
but
to
you are
listen
talking
to
utter
an
nonsense.
alternative
Who
viewpoint.
is Canada to interfere in India's internal affairs?
You will have to give me the opportunity to present my viewpoint. If you don't want to listen, then it is for the anchor to decide, and I can keep quiet.
I don't want to listen to your drivel.
You
keep quiet. It's better if you keep quiet.
Sovereignty,
you can mute yourself.
There's no question
you can
of it.
mute yourself.
Sir, the Taliban has a certain point of view. They think in their heads they are justified. How can violence be justified, sir?
Rahul, I did not intervene when everybody else was speaking. You will allow me to have my say. You understand, let India understand that there is a conflict. And the conflict is not that by if India calls people sitting in the US or the Canada to be terrorists. There are peaceful demonstrators. There are people who want to. I am not condoning what they are doing with respect to the diplomats. I'm not condoning that at all. I am only saying that if you brush everybody with the same sweep, then you are creating more problems rather than solving them.
Okay, let Sushant Sareen respond to what you're saying. Don't paint everyone with the same Khalistani brush. There are different shades of grey over here. Some are out and out terrorists. Some may just be peaceful protesters. They are entitled to a different point of view. They're not advocating violence or terrorism against the state. Sushant Sareen first. Let Sushant Sareen